大家好，我是唢呐。周杰伦跟卢广仲算是 copycat 吗？ So if you haven't heard, these two musicians are accused of making these two great songs.
在我心底的名字，忘记了时间。
And copying these two great songs. Now, if you've listened to these songs, you might be wondering, did they copy? 因为有一点像，有可能耶，因为真的很像耶。Or they could be guilty of using this very powerful tool. One of the most powerful tools in music. A tool so powerful that it is responsible for almost every major award-winning song in the past 300 years. And this tool is known as the four chords. No, real talk. Almost every major artist who has won an Academy Award, a Golden Globe, or a Grammy has used some variation of the four chords. So, on this episode, I'm going to explain to you what the four chords are, how they're used in pop music, so that you can decide for yourself whether these two guys are plagiarists or just very powerful masters in the skilled arts of the four chords. So, some of you might be wondering, the fuck is a chord? I don't know what that is. Simply speaking, a chord is a series of notes played together, either on a guitar, a piano, or virtually any musical instrument, to create a certain sound.
Here we go.
And if you play chords in a certain order or in a certain rhythm, then you have what's called a melody. Now, not all melodies have chords. Some melodies just have single notes. But when it comes to mainstream pop music, uses pretty much the same four chords to create memorable, inspiring, and some might argue life-changing music for the masses. Now, what are the four chords? You may not be a musician, you may not know anything about music at all, but I bet you know your ABCs. So, all you need to know are these four letters: C, G, A, and F. Almost every major pop song uses a combination of these letters, which are notes, in their music and in their melodies.
You're beautiful. You're beautiful. No woman, no cry. But I won't hesitate no more.
You know what? Let's break it down into terms that you could really understand. Let's say you want to hook up with a really fine-ass girl. The first thing you got to do is you got to have the courage, the C, to ask her out. Then you got to know where you're going, the G. Maybe take her on a nice date, take her to dinner, take her to a movie. But what's going to happen after? That's the A. Maybe you take her to the park, you take her for a stroll down by the river, so that way you can try to make your move. Then, somehow, you gotta get her back to your place for the F. Well, pop music works the same way. They find ways to give you the C, the G, the A, so that they can F your ears into listening to their music over and over again. So that whenever you hear the first 5 seconds, you're already like, oh my God, that's my song. I love that song. Oh, 超好听啊. Now don't get it twisted. Not every pop song uses all four notes. They might use certain variations of the notes, or they might use notes that are similar in the same sequential order. This is what's called chord progression. And the chord progression of the four chords is undeniable. You can hear it everywhere. And this is why so many songs sound the same. Well, does that mean that every artist is copying one another? Let's say one guy, he has the courage to ask her out, but he only takes her for coffee and then straight back to his place. So he had the C, he had the G, and he definitely had the F. But then the other guy, all he did was have the courage to ask her out, and he went straight to the F. And another guy might go for the C, the G, and the A, but never get the F. Does that mean that all these guys are copying each other? No. They're just all using the same tools, and some people are better at using the tools than others. Tell you what, I bet I can show you 4 songs that all use the same 4 chord progressions, but were created at completely different moments in time.
Girls like you run around with guys like me till sundown. When I come through, I need a girl like you. Nobody wanna see us together, but it don't matter, no.
Can you feel the love tonight?
Now, some people might be saying, "Oh, 那是唢呐，那几首歌只是差10几年而已啊，那没有那么久." All right, motherfucker, listen to these 2.
Here's to the ones that we got. Cheers to the wish you were here, but you're not.
Now, one of them was made in the past decade. The other one was made 341 years ago, son. In fact, that one is the OG 4-chord master. It is the basis for what all the other pop artists from then until now base their music on. That is how powerful the 4 chords are. Now, some of you might be thinking, "Oh, 但是周杰伦跟卢广仲这个事情算是最新的啊." 其实 just a couple of days ago, Billie Eilish, one of the biggest pop singers on the goddamn planet, was accused of stealing the very first song she released and made her famous from a 13-year-old girl.
Can't stop staring at those light burns red.
This shit has been going on for centuries. The only difference is that now with the internet, we have access to all this shit, so it's very easy to find things that are similar to each other. This is how Spotify recommends different songs to you when they say, because you listen to this, you might like this. That's because this song has this usage of the 4 chords in it, so you would probably like this song which has the same usage of the 4 chords in it. Now, with all this talk of chords and chord progressions, let's actually look at the songs these guys made themselves. First, we'll look at 周杰伦. Now, let's look at the Japanese group Infinite. Now, I ain't gonna lie, this shit sounds really similar. And to the untrained ear, people would even say 一模一样，真的是一样的。但是呢，再听一次。So, both of these songs have what's known as the G chord. One of them has more G's than the other. Listen again. The melody in the Infinite song has one more G, and that is a huge difference when it comes to music. This is what's known as an interpolation. Interpolation is replaying the melody only slightly different to make it unique enough to not get sued. There was actually another occurrence of this in music history. One of the most famous songs that you've probably even heard before. Now, this melody is very familiar, but the original idea for the melody actually came from David Bowie and Queen. And just like the chao song, the Vanilla Ice melody has one extra note. Now, there are 3 possibilities for chao's song. 1, he did an interpolation. 2, he fucking copied that shit. Or 3, he had no idea the song existed and just thought of the melody on his own and it just happened to be similar to their song. It happens quite often. But I want to know what you guys think in the comments down below. So now, let's look at 卢广仲
刻在我心底的名字，忘记了时间这回事。
He's being accused of copying Richard Sanderson's Reality.
I dream of loving in the night, and loving seems alright.
And the question is, what chords are similar? What you might notice is that actually the chords aren't similar at all. What is similar is the rhythm. But these two songs are not the only songs with that rhythm. You know what? I'm gonna play Richard Sanderson's song, Lu Guangzhong's song, and two other songs back to back.
I dream of loving in the night, and loving seems alright.
刻在我心底的名字，忘记了时间这回事。
And it's hard to hold a candle in the cold November rain.
I wanna know what love is.
You notice how they all have the same rhythm? This is because they're making a very specific style of music known as the ballad or swing ballad. The ballad has existed as long as jazz music has been around. And in fact, the ballad has been a common staple of pop music from the 1950s all the way up into the early 2000s. And people still use the ballad today, obviously. The ballad is a very unique style of music because it allows for the listener to follow along easily, and it also allows for the musician and the singer to add melodies and chords that are emotional and memorable to make long-lasting, timeless pop songs. Now, a few of you may be wondering what the equivalent of a ballad would be in the hookup analogy. Well, imagine if you showed up to your first date with a girl and you brought a puppy.
Oh my God! Hi, look at this.
Now, as this controversy has developed, Richard Sanderson has listened to the song himself and even commented on it, saying that kinda sounds like it, but not really. So, you heard it from the man himself. But what do you guys think? Do you think it's a copycat? Do you think they use similar chords? Or do you think it's just a nice coincidence? But now that you understand the 4 chords and how they're used, whenever you listen to different styles of music, particularly pop music, and you hear things that sound similar, it's less of a chance that someone is copying somebody and more of a chance that they're just using one of the most basic and powerful tools of pop music. So if you want to make your own music or you want to hook up with a hot girl, just remember, bring a goddamn puppy to your first date. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Peace!